Hi everybody, Monica here. Well, today I have the Spellbinders Card Kit of the Month for November of 2020. It's called Merry Wishes, and I'm going to show you what's inside, and then I will make my 10 cards from the one kit. So I've already opened it, but I want to show you what's in there. That is the ephemera bag, which I'll go through in detail later. You get sequins of 2 different sizes, a really cool die set, which I will get to a little bit later, your 10 cards and 10 envelopes. I love this stamp set. It's got beautiful font. You've got your stuffy pickers, or oh my God, hold on. All right, they're called puffy stickers. Sorry about that. I do that every once in a while, and it just cracks me up. All right, moving on. We've got journaling cards, and they have images on both sides, and you get 2 of each one. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. You get a lot, too. I didn't count them, but there's quite a lot in there. So I'll be using a couple of those in some of my cards. And then you get some puffy words and other embellishments like little stars and leaves and a couple of little sentiments on there. And then the paper pack, and I love their paper packs. I do use a lot of their paper in my cards, and you get 2 of each image or each print, and a couple of them, a few of them have gold foil in them, which is really pretty, like that one right there. And then they all follow a color palette, and I don't know if I ever noticed it before, if they didn't do it in the past, but they're doing it now. Maybe I just never saw it. There's a color palette on the front of the paper pack. It's a stripe of colors that go all the way across all the little thumbnails. Okay, so I freeze framed it for you so that you could see what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving on, they provide a lot of cardstock, which I really think is nice and generous of them. And it also follows the color palette that's on the front of the paper pad, except for they also added a piece of yellow, which isn't in the papers there, but there, I found it there. And also, always they give you a piece of gold metallic cardstock, which is beautiful. And I use that a lot in my cards. So here comes the ephemera. Spellbinders always packs their card kits with so much ephemera, it's crazy. And I used as much as I could. I always have tons left over though. All right, so I'm going to make my first card, and I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I'm using my Misty and Versamark ink. It's just clear, sticky ink. That's why you can't see it. And I'm pouring some gold heat embossing powder over where I had stamped it, and it sticks to the ink. And then I'm going to melt it with my heat gun, but first I'm going to collect all that excess powder on an old card base that never made it to a real card. That's all I'm doing right there. So when it comes to heat embossing, it's really important to have your heat gun hot before you start. That way you don't have to have the heat on your paper as long as you would if it wasn't hot to start. And that helps prevent warping. So now I've cut out 2 ovals. I have 2 ovals almost the same size, so I was able to save a little bit of time there. And I'm using the red cardstock that came with the kit, and I'm going to make a gatefold card. So instead of scoring it down the middle, I'm going to score it at 2 1/8, which is half of 4 1/4, which is where you would normally score it. So I'm doing 2 cards, so I got to do the second one. And those little papers right there, they're just my little cheat sheets. They help me keep track of what size panel I want to cut and if I've made it the right measurement. Now I'm going to use some pattern paper. I love the gold and the red and the white color combination here. And I'm just marking using the card as a measuring tool, I guess, basically to tell me where to cut the paper. I want to put 4 pieces of paper on all 4 of those panels. I call them barn doors on the gatefold cards. And then I just use one as a template to cut the other ones. And now I'm just going to adhere all 4 of those onto the 2 card bases with the double-sided tape that came with the kit. That's so pretty. All right, now I don't know if you've watched my channel before, but most of the cards that I make are for people in sobriety. And Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays can be difficult for people in sobriety sometimes. So I have little inserts that say words of encouragement. And this one says, have yourself a sober little Christmas. And if you want, you can download those from my website. I have them up there for free, and I will be making some new ones that aren't necessarily for people in sobriety. So it'll be useful for everybody. I'm going to try and get that done before this season is over. So now I need to figure out a way to close the barn doors, and I'm going to use a strip of vellum. But I lied to you. That is not vellum. That is tracing paper, and I love to use that instead of vellum. It's actually about half the price. Anyway, I just made enough to wrap around the card and be tall enough so that I could put the sentiments that are on the ovals on top of them without being squished. And then I just made sure that when I folded over and lined up the two sides that I didn't make it such a tight fit that it would be too hard to get across and over the top of the card, like right there. You have to bend the card a little bit if it's too tight. All right, so now I just need to mount the sentiments on top of the vellum, and I'm using some leftover foam that had holes or circles pulled out of it already. So it's like the negative space of holes, so that's why it looks so funky and weird right there. But I like that particular brand because it raises up the piece, whatever you're mounting onto your card, fairly high. It's probably higher than a 1/4 inch, I would think. I haven't seen them around, but I used to get them at Michael's all the time. So anyway, now I'm just mounting the sentiments on top of the little belly bands, sliding them over to make sure that they fit nice and snug, but not too tight. Okay, so now for the finishing touches. You know, a lot of people use sequins as a final embellishment on cards, and that's what I'm going to do on the card on the right. But to be quite honest with you, I don't like doing that because I feel like they come off in the mail or even before they even get in the envelope, and it's frustrating to me. I also have a sheet of little stickers. They're stars and hearts and flowers, and I've had them forever, and I'm going to run out one of these days, but I like using them instead, and I'll be putting those on the card on the left here in just a second. I'm going to be making some shaker cards, and so the sequins won't go to waste. So here are the stars that I chose to put on the one on the left, and I like it so much better, or even stickles or liquid pearls or something like that, or, you know, enamel dots I think are better than sequins. But I just wanted to show you what you can do with what's in the kit if you have some strong glue. Okay, so for the second card, I am really, really happy with this card. I was looking on Pinterest for some inspiration, and I found this thing, and I thought, I wonder if I can actually make that for reals because it's actually a Photoshop or an Illustrator trick. But the first time I tried it, it didn't quite work because the fold just didn't work. So I tried it again and it worked. So what I needed to do was make a big long ribbon, and I wanted to use parts that were in the kit. So I chose some green-ish pattern paper. And I folded it over on itself because I would need the back and the front to be green, or at least some kind of a pattern. And then I just glued them like a little chain. So I had one long piece of green-ish paper / ribbon. Okay. And then I made myself a little template. And I don't know the size of this little Christmas tree, but I will mark it I will put a little graphic up for you. So, I just basically started wrapping the paper around the little template, and I'm leaving all of this footage in there for you because it was quite tricky, and I want to make sure you understand. So when you fold it over, your natural inclination is to bend the paper right alongside the side of the Christmas tree, but you don't want to do that. You want it to go straight up and down, and otherwise it'll fold downwards. You know what I'm trying to say? And on the front side of the card or tree, I am angling the ribbon up at an angle. And on the back, which is that right there, I'm going straight side to side. So the front, I'm going up at an angle, and I'm following the ribbon underneath it, and I'm trying to keep the same amount of space. And then on the back, I'm going straight across. And I have to keep adjusting here and there, pulling them down. But as you can see, they're not lined up right next to the Christmas tree. it wouldn't work that way. So then at the end, it gets easier. You just have to keep fiddling with it and fiddling with it. And then I just trimmed that off, and now I can slide this out. And it kind of goes haywire there for a second. But I put a stamping block on top of it to hold it in place while I figured out how to corral this monster. And I just grabbed a strip of double-sided tape and I put it right up the center, which worked perfect. Okay, so, but it still kind of wants to unravel, but it won't. You can still control it. So now I'm going to mount it right on the front of my little card base. This is just the card base that came with the kit. I didn't do anything to it but add this to it and a couple more embellishments. Now I'm mounting it onto the card base, and I need a little bit of glue for the top part of the tree and the bottom part. And I didn't really worry about a trunk because you get the idea, right? And I just think it's really a great little effect. I mean, it's so cool. And it's just a simple piece of paper. And I grabbed a star from the puffy stickers, and I used one of these sentiments, which kind of works as a tree trunk. And then to top it off, I used some liquid pearl, and then I added some pearl ones and finished it off like that. That is the coolest card I think I may have ever made, ever, in my whole life, ever. All right, so for this card, I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to make the cutest little window card with some branches behind it and a tree and a little winter scene. And I started with a white cardstock, and I cut 3 little windows out of it. And then I marked them lightly with a pencil so that I could see where to put my branches, which I used a bunch of ephemera for that. And once I got that lined up, I looked through the windows to make sure that they worked right, and I liked the layout that I had, so I put everybody in place, the branches and the little bird. And then I realized I just didn't like the white, so I thought I would make the front be in that beautiful gold and white striped paper from the paper pad. And I just used the first white piece that I made as a template so that I could keep the windows in the same place that I had them originally. So I cut those out of the gold, and now I could place the gold on top of that, and that's starting to look a lot better. So I still needed to trim that down, though, to make sure I still had a white border around the outside of the card. So that's what I'm doing there. And now I'm just mounting it with the double-sided tape that came with the kit. And here's where I messed up. I should have used foam tape so that there cast a little bit of a shadow instead of laying so flat right on the bird and the branches and everything. So once I did that, I kind of tried to give it some dimension by adding the little berries with foam squares so that at least it raised it up a little bit. I put the sentiment on there, which I mounted on some craft cardstock as a little frame behind it, and the sentiment was from the ephemera pack. And that pretty much wrapped it up for that card, except for I added some liquid pearls on top of there, the little white ones, to give it a little bit of snow flaky goodness. All right, so for this next card, I'm going to use some Christmas ornaments that came with the ephemera. I used paper to raise up the height so I could give it a little bit of dimension. I could have cut some foam, but this was easier, and I had punches that fit just about perfect. So I glued some circles on the back of all 3 of those ornaments, and then some twine that I had in my stash. And I'm just trying to find a nice layout where the words Christmas joy and the ornaments and the string all work together. And I went back to the paper pad like normal, and I dug out the gold with those little stars on it and then a gold background. So I mounted both of those on my card base. Got that a little bit too big, so I had to trim that off with my scissors. And then that side, I thought to use my little paper trimmer, but it left a little bit of a bump on the front edge. You see it right there? So it was bugging me. So I tried to smush it down with my fingers, but that didn't work. And then I scraped it along my my mat right there, and that worked pretty good. But that worked great, just rubbing my little tool against the side of it. It pushed it straight down, just nice and smooth and pretty. And now there I go with my mounting tape that's got the holes, the reverse holes. And that finishes it for that card. That's all I did with that one. I like the way that one came out. All right, so now for my next card, another real quick and easy one. I just grabbed a piece of the pattern paper and one of those journaling cards. I love that pattern right there. And there's paper that matches that also in the kit. But and then I took a circle die and I punched out a circle and I stamped 2 different sentiments on there that came with the stamp set, and I tied some gold twine to make a little bow, and I put that at the top with a little glue dot. I'll show you here. I cut it in a little piece of it off, and this is quite old, this glue dot. I try to use it as really strong glue, and it works. It's just a little tricky, but that's a real good way to adhere something small like that to the page without a big glob of glue or some wet glue that's just not very strong. So that'll last forever. And then I got out my stickles. I'm having a good time with my stickles and my perfect pearls. I actually went and bought a whole bunch more. I like them a lot better than I do sequins. Okay, we got another quick and easy card. I die cut a diamond on white cardstock and I stamped one of the stamped sentiments on there. And then I took one of the journaling cards and I covered the part that says merry, jolly, happy. I don't know about you, but I never heard of that before, so I like the sentiment that's on the stamp better. And then I just centered that on a green panel that I put on a card base, and I added some gold stickles, this time in just a little different pattern than all over the card. And see how quick and easy you can make some cards out of this kit. It's wonderful. All right, here we go again with another quick and easy card. Sorry my desk is such a mess. Usually I'm zoomed in and you don't get to see all that. Fussy cut the little deer that's in the snow globe. And I'm going over the edge with a dark marker. And here's a cool little idea I came up with. I just bought those watercolor paints and the brushes, and they have some metallic colors in them. So I'm just going over what's on the pattern paper there with the metallic green and some metallic gold in the center of the flowers. And then I simply mounted up my little deer on some phone tape, and I'm putting on some liquid pearls to make it look like snowflakes, and those enamel, those are enamel accents. They work great for the eyes for the little reindeer. And and then I used gold stickles or perfect pearls for the center of the flowers to finish it off. I really like the way that came out, and it only took like 5 minutes. But anyway, that's how quick and easy that one was. And now this is one of my favorite cards, and it uses the die that came in the kit. I finally got around to using that. I had cut it out, but I didn't quite know what I was going to do with it. And it's a bit tedious. It's got a lot of pieces to it, and I don't know if I'll ever use it again, to be really honest with you. So that's why I made 2 of them, because I thought, well, if I'm going to be making one, I might as well make 2. So you have to cut out all the pieces, and the little guide that comes with the kit explains or kind of gives you a picture of which ones to cut in which color. And so the background black one is simple, and then you just adhere all of the white pieces to that, and then you'll see I'll put the white or the light behind those 2 metal bars. That's what I'm going to do right now, and it kind of gives the effect of a lantern. And then you have to cover that on the front with some more white, and then some more black, and then some more white. It's a lot. But once it's done and set, it's really pretty. That's for the second one. I kind of had to fiddle with that part of it. Now you put this little black thing on top, and then a little white jiggity-jaggedy edge. That's a technical term there. Jiggity-jaggedy, that one right there. And then it's done, but see how pretty it is? And then for the little wreath, you're supposed to cut out 2 of them, so I did that, but I wanted to give a little bit of dimension. I didn't want it to look so flat, so I took my Copic marker to one edge of the green. And then you see how nice that is once you lay it together and make 2 of them. You could probably even do 3. So then I put that on the little lamp. And then the bow is really cool. It comes in 2 little pieces. I guess I didn't show you right there, but it's already glued on. You can see it to the right there. I just grabbed a blue base that I got from my stash, and I'm taking the sky background and I'm inking the edge of it with just the ink, the little ink cube, rather than a blending brush. And now I'm going to make some snowy hills. And then I had to fiddle around with which hill was going to go where. And then I like these trees or these houses. I had a cute idea. This is where I finally felt like I got some of my creativity back. Man, this kit was hard. I'm not going to lie. That's why it's coming out so late, and I've had it for a couple of weeks, but I just can't seem to make a card out of it. But I finally got this one done, and this did come out really cute. And I don't know, I think it just goes to prove that if you just keep persevering, you can come up with some really nice things. And it just takes time, and the whole point is to have fun, and I do have fun. So I think I might have seen this somewhere. I don't know, but I like the idea of the houses going across the little hill. Now, what's funny, though, is I didn't ink the edge of the snowbanks until they were laying flat, which was kind of goofy. I think I'm just erasing my pencil lines right there. Yeah. So I'm going to mount the background onto the card base. And that card base I get from Michael's, a whole stash of them. Usually there's like 80 for $5. I'm not kidding you. So now I'm putting on my snowbanks, and like I said, I forgot to give the edge a little bit of snow. So that's what I'm doing right there. And I like when it's where it's lower to kind of pull the blue down a little bit. Looks like a little bit of a dip in the snow. And I'm going to do 3 layers of dimensions. So this second hill, it will have 1 strip of foam tape. And then the third layer will also have only 1 strip of foam tape, but it's going to be 3 times as high. I hope that makes sense to you. So then that looks really cute already, like that, right? The little lantern in the background there. I don't know what it would be doing in the middle of a snowbank, but that's what I made it do. Okay, now to mount the lantern level with all those different levels of snowbanks going on. The very bottom part of it that's going to be on the foremost hill won't get any foam tape. And then the middle section that's going to be across the second hill will get 1 layer of foam tape. And then the top part of the lantern is going to get 2 layers of foam tape so that it steps down. I hope that makes sense to you. So here comes my little houses. And then similar to the lamppost, I need to stagger the height of the houses, and I want them to be level with the snowbank that they're on. So the houses that are going to be on top of the hill in the background aren't going to get any foam. And then the houses that are going to be on the second hill, which is the part right there by the lamp, they're going to get 1 layer of foam. So it'll match the height of the second hill. And then the foremost hill, the houses that are supposed to be on top of that, they're going to get 2 layers of foam so that it brings it all the way up to the foreground. So it gives it a really 3D look to the card. I really like the way this came out. So anyway, I just cut it apart. I found both of the pieces of ephemera with those little houses. That's where I got those houses from the ephemera pack. They're so cute. And it's just coming together as cute as can be. And then I found the Christmas from the ephemera, and I cut apart that little sticker or ticket right there that had Merry something something on it, and I just used the Merry to go with Christmas, and I put it in the middle of the wreath that's on the lantern. And now I'm gonna adhere some stars that are part of the puffy sticker stuff. They're really pretty, and that's giving it a nice Christmassy touch. And then one last little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and use my red stickles. Those are really pretty. I am loving the stickles, and I'm telling you, I don't know why I resisted for so long to buy them, but now I have them in gold and silver and red and blue and green, and I'm going to never have to use a sequin again. Anyway, it's easier, and I think it looks just as pretty, and it's simpler to mail. It's not going to fall off and all that stuff. All right, so finally, this is not even the last card. This is number 9. All right, so I wanted to use that stamp set, and I tried a million different things, and I finally said, just make it work. So that's what I did. I used a real light gray. not even sure what kind of an ink pad that is. It's one of those little square ones, little cheapy ones. Oh, by the way, I've got some Simon Hurley stamps arriving today, or inks. I'm going to do a little video on that. I'm so excited because I finally bit the bullet and bought some nice stamps, or inks. I mean, I already have just Distress Oxides and some Distress inks, but other than that, I just buy the less expensive ones, and I try and make do. I just don't have a big budget, especially since this Corona thing hit. It took out some of my income. Anyway, back to my little project here. I'm going to make a row of Christmas trees in the foreground. The little ones in the back are supposed to be the background woodland area. And so I'm going to do blue, green, blue, green, blue, green. And I did the green ones first, and now I'm going to put the blue ones in. Yeah, that looks better lower in the front. And this came out really cute. As I was building it, I didn't like it. And I think it's just been a while. I lost my mojo big time for making cards, and I couldn't get it back. And I really like doing my YouTube channel. I really like my subscribers. I'm growing, and it's exciting to me, and I want to keep it up. But I lost my creative juices for a long time. I just couldn't get it going. And I think what I've come to conclude is that when I was working a lot before and making all these 10 cards, 1 kit videos, I just kept pushing and kept persevering, and eventually I would end up with a cool card, and I think I just forgot to keep doing that. Like, I would just give up too easy. So my advice to you is that if you hit a creative block, just keep going. It'll get there. And then before you know it, you'll have a little masterpiece that you're all happy with. Like, not everything in this card worked out. Like that sentiment that I stamped in the center there and heat embossed, I just didn't work. So I found one of the pieces of ephemera that had some gold writing on it and some green, and that worked real cute on top of that. And then another background that I bought from Michael's, that card-based background. Oh, and then this pink thing is what kind of, I can't think of the name of it. I'll put a graphic up if I remember. It's just a non-sticky mat so that the glue on my tape runner doesn't stick to it. So I got that one going, and then there I go again with my stickles. I like them, especially for Christmas bulbs and ornaments. Look how cute they look. And they're not going to move, and they give it a little tiny bit of dimension. I like them. Like them. So that's it for the 9th card. And finally, the last card. This one took me probably 5 minutes. And that card base, once again, it's from the Michael's pack of 80 that I get, and I just drew a line so that my letters would be on a straight line, and I put Merry Christmas on there from the little letters that came on the puffy words. I probably could have lowered the word Merry. It would have been a little bit better, but I didn't want to go back over it and maybe ruin the stickiness, so I left it like that, and it actually looks pretty. And then I grabbed some more of the gold stars that came with the puffy letters, and I embellished the card, and it's so perfect because that card base already has that gold built into it. And now I'm just putting some gold striping tape on the bottom, and that wraps up card number 10. Wow, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. It helps my channel grow. And here's a look back through all 10 cards, and happy holidays, everybody.